What golden nugget of information do you have to share? A scorpion can hold its breath for 6 days, so don't think drowning it will help you out of your scorpion problem. Even if you aren't willing to give mouth to mouth on an unconscious person, chest compressions alone greatly increase their odds of survival. If bees were paid the minimum wage, a jar of honey would cost about $200,000. For a garment to be labeled, made in USA, the process only needs to be started and finished in America. In the case of a certain ladies' underwear line, the material is cut in USA, shipped overseas for assembly, then shipped back to America where a seamstress sews a "Made in USA" tag on the item. Source/underwear factory worker. Semen washes off best with cool water. Using hot water can cause the proteins to denature and makes it stickier. A moose can run 40 miles per hour through 6-foot deep snow. When choking on food and can't get help, you can get into a push-up position and then just drop down. The ground hitting your stomach and chest will cause what you're choking on to dislodge. I had a heart transplant 5 years ago. When your heart is replaced, the surgeon has to cut the main nerve that gets the signal from the brain to beat, and/or increase the intensity of the beat. Without this vagus nerve, your new heart has no regulation and pumps blood out of habit. You no longer have a fight or flight response and your new heart beats at 90+ beats a minute. The main reason we stop doing something we love is because we forget our love of doing it for enjoyment's sake and replace it with the desire to be good at it. There are about 60,000 characters in the Mandarin language. A very literate person will know 20,000. The average person from 5,000 to 10,000. If uneducated, around 3,000. Horses have a massive blind spot on the front and back of their body. If you are ever around a tame horse, keep a hand on their body while walking around them. This lets it know where you are at all times and decreases chances of kicking out of shock or fear. This also prevents them from kicking you with as much force. You need to stay very close to them for the full benefit. This is similar with goats, as they instinctively fight things coming head-on and should be approached from the sides. Also, ears are the gateway to a horse's feelings. Pinned back ears indicates an anxious or angered horse. Pinned straight up indicates curiosity and focus. Artillery was responsible for over 70% of combat casualties in both world wars. Each one of the Yamato-class battleship's main gun turrets weighed over 3,000 tons, heavier than the average US destroyer. If you were on a destroyer in the US Navy during World War II, you ran the risk of having to fight a ship whose primary weapons alone displaced more weight than your entire vessel. Gary Newman is 13 days older than Gary Oldman. The Earth wobbles really slowly like a spinning top. It takes about 26,000 years to come full circle. In the process, the northern star changes. This is called precession. Airline ops guy here. If you check in a bag at an airport with an hour or less before departure, it has a 50/50th shot of making it on the plane. Just like the TSA line, bag security can back up too. I regularly see 30+ minute in screening statuses on bags. Then, it may be pulled for a hand screening in search. This is random and TSA doesn't care when the flight leaves. So now we are at about 25 minutes to departure and your bag has only just now entered the sort system. It will take another 5 to 10 minutes to sort out to the person who loads carts with bags. Here, the problem is that there may be 7 to 10 other flights coming off of the same conveyor belt. They have to see your bag's tag out of maybe 50 other bags, so let's assume another 5 minutes. Your flight's bag cart was delivered plainside at an hour before departure. It is now 15 minutes to departure. The bag room has seen your bag and has it on the back of a tug racing to the plane. 7 minutes before departure the baggage compartments are closed and total weights are being submitted. Your bag has missed the airplane. TL, doctor, please check in more than an hour before your flight if checking a bag or else it might not make it on the plane. All colors of Fruit Loops have the same flavor. If you ever have a baseball bat and need to use it as a weapon, put a sock over it so if someone tries to disarm you they just slide off the sock. If you carry a baseball bat in your vehicle for self-defense, also carry a baseball glove, even if you don't play baseball. Your lawyer will appreciate it. The gray rock treatment is an incredibly useful method of dealing with narcissists and toxic people. If such a person is going at you verbally or behaviorally, screaming or posturing or trying to fight, become like a gray rock in a river. No reaction, don't answer, no movement, just sit calmly and let the stream of crazy flow past you. Bonus points if you can stare blankly. When people thrive on causing a reaction, they absolutely cannot compute when they get no reaction. If you're in physical danger, obviously react to keep yourself safe, but don't argue, explain or defend verbally. You'll never change a narcissist's mind, it's just walking on a treadmill. Obviously not foolproof, keep yourself safe first and foremost. People often underestimate how big a billion actually is. An easy way to conceptualize it is to think of it in terms of seconds. 1 million seconds ago was 12 days ago. 1 billion seconds ago was 1987. The tensing of leg muscles will deflate an unwanted erection. A single spaghetti noodle is called a spaghetto. If your older parents/grandparents are suddenly acting strange, get them checked for a UTI. In older people, UTIs can cause a psychotic or delusional episode. The Outer Bridge Crossing is a bridge that connects Staten Island, New York to Perth Amboy, New Jersey. You probably think it was named that because it's the outermost bridge in New York City. Wrong. It's named after Eugenius Harvey Outerbridge. Caterpillars are physically unable to burp. The human anus can stretch up to 7 inches before taking damage. A raccoon can squeeze into holes as tight as 4 inches, meaning you can take almost 2 full raccoons up your ass. A 30-minute walk every day decreases the percent of you getting dementia. Newly registered nurse working on a hematology ward and learned that stem cells smell like sweet corn. Even though you have a VPN, it doesn't necessarily keep you hidden if skilled people wanted to find you. There are many things that can leak your IP that you have to isolate and fix, such as IPv6 leaks, DNS leaks, and WebRTC leaks. Also, every add-in you add to your browser, it gives you a unique fingerprint that can lead back to you. You're not as secure as you think. The odds of you finding a gold nugget in a day are 0.0000784% on average. If you're in the woods and smell cucumbers, there is a copperhead snake nest nearby. Getting older is fucking awesome. 53M. I feel confident, secure, and healthier than I ever have in my entire life. I wish I could tell my 28-years-old self to relax and enjoy the ride more. There are 3 ways to refer to a gathering of geese. 1. If they're on the ground, it's a gaggle. 2. If they're flying but not in a V-shaped formation, it's a skein. 3. If they're flying and in a V-shaped formation, it's a wedge. Heat the back of a spoon gently and press it on a mosquito bite for a few seconds to greatly reduce itching. The heat breaks up the protein in the venom. X% of Y is the same as Y% of X. So if you're struggling to find 26% of 50, maybe 50% of 26, 13, is much easier to do quickly. Armadillos give birth to 4 identical twins always. Kangaroo has 3 vaginas. Wherever you are, be there, someone wiser than me. On YouTube, you can directly click at the end of the video and then play replay, all ads will be removed. Ctrl+Shift+Escape opens straight to the task. That a strong sense of doom is a medically recognized and majority common precursor to having a heart attack. The concept of 3 square meals a day is a diet designed for people working physical labor in the early 1900s. Quality of diet and sticking to daily calorie limits is the only part that really matters. Otherwise, it really doesn't matter what time you eat, although the 3 square meals model is indeed advantageous for day-long maintenance of energy levels. Basically, it's better to just eat when you're hungry than force yourself to eat when you should, so long as you're getting the proper nutrients, etc. In the 16th century, Turkish women could initiate a divorce if their husbands didn't pour coffee for them. Canadians say, "sorry, so much," that an act passed in 2009 states that an apology would not be considered admission to guilt. Most people replace their computer or run them into the ground when they get hot and slow. When in reality, new thermal compound and a solid-state drive upgrade can fix both problems and increase its lifespan for about $35 to $50 and isn't incredibly hard to DIY in most cases. Never miss a chance to piss. Manhattan's layout is largely grid-based except for Broadway, which runs at a diagonal through the city and ignores the grid. This is because before the rest of Manhattan was developed and was mostly farmland and open fields, this is the route the cows took out to pasture, and its continued use over the years by people and cows meant it was simply left in as the city developed. Broadway exists BC cows. Look people in the eye. Say please and thank you. Salespeople will go out of their way for you if you show appreciation. Domestic cats don't meow to communicate with other cats. They use meows almost exclusively to communicate with humans. It's 100 times better to break up when you're in a shit relationship than trying to fix it up for the nth time. Seasonal allergies are almost entirely man-made ailments. When planting landscaping trees and bushes in the 50s and 60s, people didn't want to use female trees as they didn't want fruit to fall on streets and on people's cars, so they opted for almost entirely male trees, thus drastically increasing the pollen output. Iron can make your poop color turn black. Sometimes it's best to let go of people. I work front desk at a hotel. I've seen this before, so I hope it's new to someone. Don't use sites like Expedia, etc. If you book directly with the hotel, you can always call to make changes. If you need to cancel, you can avoid the 24-hour window fee by changing your reservation to a few days later. then call back the next day to cancel. Third-party booking sites are not easy to change info. We cannot change the rate if something needs to be fixed, and you are looked down upon and get whatever basic rooms are available. Not by me personally but everyone around me. The airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow, European, is 11 meters per second or 24 miles per hour. Smells are particulate. The writing staff for Futurama were probably the most highly educated group of writers a cartoon has ever had. When Elton John changed his name from Reginald Dwight, he also gave himself a middle name. His full name is Elton Hercules John. The pain of discipline is temporary, the pain of regret is permanent. If you don't have a toilet plunger, and you've clogged it up, pour in a bit of dish soap, and some hot water, the hotter the better. Let's stand for 15 minutes, and flush. Learned this when immediately upon arriving at our hotel, my 8-year-old clogged up our toilet and I googled. Found this gem, realized I'd packed a tiny travel bottle of dish soap, warmed water up in the microwave and lo and behold, it worked. I still use it sometimes at home when I don't want to be grossed out by plunging. Yes, my child has a tendency to clog toilets. So there you go. Do not allow yourself to be mentally abused by anyone, especially from your own family. People can overlook how damaging it can be to your well-being. I don't care what they make you think you did to deserve it, you don't, full stop. Never pour water into any acid because it will splash out acid at 600 plus kelvins, 300 degrees Celsius. If you have to mix water and acid, always put water first then acid. This is because the reaction of acid dissolution is exothermic, meaning it will create a big quantity of heat, thus the splashing. But if you put a drop of acid in water, the reaction won't heat enough to splash. The distinctive smell, petrichor, of summer rain is caused by the molecule geosmin, a byproduct of Streptomyces bacteria. Admit when you're wrong. Say it out loud to the person you were incorrect to and don't let your pride stop you. The amount of respect you instantly gain is shocking, no matter how much you like the person. When looking at renting a car, hotel room, etc. Type in your company's name, discount code, vendor in Google. X, Wells Fargo Hertz discount code. You can get better rates on these items usually. At the beginning of every relationship agree to assume positive intent. Talk about it often, don't forget about it and make it the most important rule. Fights will be less, empathy will be greater and your relationship will be stronger. La Tomatina is a festival held in Bunal, Spain where participants get involved in food fights only using tomatoes just for entertainment. This year it should have been on the 26th of August. One of the most important moments in Western history was when a Greek army of about 7,000 managed to drive off 100,000 Persian soldiers in the Battle of Salamis. The Persian general, King Xerxes, was sent a message from one of the Greek generals claiming that he had defected and that the entire Athenian population would be evacuating the next morning and that this would be a perfect opportunity to destroy the Greek fleet as the ships would be full of civilians. Xerxes trusted this information and sent his much larger fleet into the territory only to find the full brunt of the Grecian military in perfect position to destroy the entire Persian fleet. Xerxes was forced to flee back to Persia and they never attempted an invasion again, well except that one time. Had Persia won this battle, Greek culture would have never been able to flourish the way it did during the classical period, and Western civilization as a whole probably would look very different today. Nothing Compares to You is a Prince song. To kill the cyber demon, shoot it until it dies. Get a first aid course, it really does save lives. Even if wipes say they're flushable, they're not fucking flushable. Switching to your pistol is always faster than reloading. Most of us fit and active people don't enjoy exercise. We enjoy the feeling when it's done. So if you hate running, hate cycling, hate lifting weights, most of us do, too. So don't wait for something to click, just get out there and do it and get it done. You'll enjoy how you feel later in the day and you'll be proud of the results long term. Don't go shopping when you're hungry, you'll buy unnecessary stuff. Stop giving a fuck about what other people think about you. It's more powerful than you might think. When driving in tunnels, if there is a blue stripe on the wall you are underwater, if the stripe is brown you are underground. The best thing you could have done is planted a tree 30 years ago, the next best thing you can do is planting it today. It's never too late. When you move to a new place, take a 30-minute walk through the neighborhood. Even if you just stop at 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee, it will make it feel a lot more like home. Arguing with a genius and winning is possible but very hard, arguing with an idiot and winning is impossible. Bill did kiss Amanda at his party in 1997 despite what everyone claims. I know because I saw it with my own eyes. Stonehenge, the world's most famous henge, isn't actually a henge. A henge is a Neolithic earthworks, oval or circular in shape, sometimes containing wooden or stone structures and surrounded by a perimeter of a bank with internal ditch. So the famous stones of Stonehenge aren't even a necessary part of a henge, just an optional extra. But more importantly, the bank and ditch at Stonehenge are the wrong way round to make it an official henge. So Stonehenge isn't a henge, however the earliest recorded use of the word henge is in reference to Stonehenge, so non-henge, Stonehenge, despite not being a henge, is the thing all other henges are named after. A moment of patience can save you a lifetime of regret. I worked at Domino's Pizza for a while. You should never order their specialty pizzas. Just order their mix and match deal, which is 2 medium pizzas with 2 toppings. You can put all 4 toppings on one pizza, which is about what you get on a specialty, and you essentially get a free cheese pizza. In a vehicle with an automatic transmission, there will be a small panel around the base of the stick shift. If you open it up, use a paper clip, there will be a button in there. If you push the button, you can work the shifter without a key. Saying no when someone asks you to do something is a reasonable answer. Don't be afraid to say it. In ancient Hawaiian culture, women were not allowed to eat meat. The practical reason for this is because there were not a lot of animals on the islands to feed everyone, some wild dogs or boar. But it worked its way into the religious kapu system, which was held to very strictly. If a woman was caught eating meat, she had to be killed. If it was a young girl, they would just pluck out an eye. Credit scores do not cross international borders. Once you begin working in another country, you can start over in that regard. If you stop using social media, chances are you'll feel much better about yourself because you'll most likely stop making comparisons to others' vanity. Don't believe everything you think. Stop and question yourself every once in a while. The Stegosaurus dinosaur was older to the Tyrannosaurus rex than the Trex is to us. It's a rather well-known fact, but some people tend to think that dinosaurs all lived together in one big chunk of time. The national animal for Scotland is the unicorn. I saw this on r/you should know the other day. Applying superglue, cyanoacrylate, to cotton or wool results in a rapid chemical reaction that releases enough heat to cause minor burns. If enough cyanoacrylate is added to the cotton or wool, the fabric will catch on fire, making this a great trick to keep in mind in survival situations. Babies are a lot easier to deal with if you can simply empathize with what they're feeling. If your brain was processing literally thousands of pieces of information and growing exponentially, you didn't have complete control over your reflexes and limbs, giants were speaking to you in an unknown language, and your caregivers seem stressed out about you, you'd probably need a hug and gentleness too. The Sunny 16 rule. If you ever find yourself shooting film with an old manual exposure camera. Also helpful with any camera for street photography and learning to zone focus. The basic rule is, on a sunny day set aperture to f/16 and shutter speed to the ISO film speed for a subject in direct sunlight. For example, on a sunny day and with ISO 100 film/setting in the camera, one sets the aperture to f/16 and the shutter speed, i.e. exposure time, to 1/100 or 1/125. On a sunny day with ISO 200 film/setting and aperture at f/16, set shutter speed to 1/200 or 1/250. On a sunny day with ISO 400 film/setting and aperture at f/16, set shutter speed to 1/400 or 1/500. The College of Virginia Tech has a therapy dog for anyone to use, and he has a degree. His name is Moose. Apple has patented the round pizza box. You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. No matter how badly you want to. You can spend an entire afternoon reading the comments of one Reddit post.